As a rooted deeply and forward-looking community, we hope that you will be blessed by this message. For more information, visit rechurchza.com.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the middle of a series by the name of Roots. So that's why the picture is up there. And today we're in the final part of that. And today we are going to be speaking on something that when Henny asked me, so Henny and them are, like Kathy said, they're away on training this week. So that's why I'm here. And when Henny asked me to preach on this, I was like, not like, yay. This is something I'm like so excited about because I'm so thrilled to talk about demonic strongholds. So this is out of my comfort zone. So welcome to it. This is what it looks like. I think one of the core things when we talk about strongholds is just to understand how the world works. So very basically, when we talk about our spiritual lives, we talk about our world, there are two specific areas within our lives. And today we're going to be talking about, the sermon's name is Enemy at the Gates. So, we have, now please excuse me, Polly was the teacher, I type. So we have two spheres in the world. The one is the natural world. Okay, that's what we see. It's your body, it's your eyes, it's the weather outside, all of that. And then we also have the spiritual world. Everybody okay with that? Angels, demons, heaven, whole theology on that. Okay, spiritual world. And then there's this little part here in the middle where these two worlds overlap. And this, for all practical purposes, we will call your life. If we just had a natural world, we believe in nothing, you are dust, you will die, the reason that you are here is not important, you're a combination of dice that were thrown, happy days, all is for nothing, let us die. Great. If we just believe spiritual, then your life means nothing. There is nothing to do because everything is spiritual, and why are we here? But it's where the two actually meet that the truth comes out. That God created us as physical beings for a spiritual eternity. Now, if we keep this in mind, this is where the war is currently happening. So right over here in the spiritual world, so if we can go to, thanks Leandri, so there's a story being told in 2 Kings. So there is a pastor by the name of Elijah. I think it's Elijah. Elijah is there, and there's a king, and there's a king that comes against him, and every single time this king comes against the nation of Israel, his plans get thwarted. And he gets really paranoid. And he's like, there's a mole in our midst. Someone is telling the Israelites what we are doing. And his people have an insight and they say, we don't have a mole, they have a man of God. And that man of God can tell the king of Israel what you are saying in your bedroom. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please note, if you were quoted about things that you said in your inner room, would that not make interesting conversations for other people? All right. So this king obviously is a little bit frightened, and he says, this shall not stand. We will go and kill Elijah. So he sends an army out to go kill this prophet of God. So in the middle of the night, a whole army gets sent out, and Elijah is sleeping, and his servant is sleeping, and the following morning the servant wakes up, and he sees encamped around their city a whole army. And he freaks out. He's like, we are doomed. The king of Aram has come against us. We will die, we will die, we will die. And then Elijah says the following words. Thank you, Leandri. So he says, do not be afraid, the prophet answered. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. So how can he say that? Well, following verse. He says, Elijah prayed, opened his eyes, Lord, so that he might see. And the Lord opened his eyes and the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw on the hills full of horses and chariots, full. Those that are with you. Just check the next verse as well, please, Leandri. As the enemy came down towards him, Elijah prayed. Okay, and they got struck by blindness, and they were confused, and he led them to another city, and that's how he overcame. Fact is that there was a physical army encamped around the city, but it was a spiritual battle. Everybody okay with that? Okay, so there was a physical battle happening, but it was actually all spiritual. Right. Welcome to your life. There are things happening that we can see that is actually just an expression of what is happening in the supernatural. That is what is happening in that side. So what happens to us here where we call your life? That's the part where the battle is taking place. And where Satan would like to get a foothold or a stronghold. So how does this work? Well, we have a door. And Satan comes as the father of the lie, and he introduces himself as a liar. And he tells you a lie. Let me just quickly check if I'm still on track. Yes. Okay. Right, so Satan comes and introduces himself as the father of the lie. So he comes and lies to you. So what we do now is Satan comes and Satan can't invade your life. Did you know that? He can't overpower you. He's a strong man. 1 Peter says he's prowling around like a lion, looking for someone to devour. Okay, one, is he a lion? No, Lion of Judah, he is like a lion. He's the father of imitation as well. He's like a lion, looking for someone to overthrow, to someone to devour. So what happens now is, he wants to invade your life, but he can't do it without an invitation. So what is true in spirit is true in spirit. So the word says, someone is knocking at the door. If you open, Jesus will come in. If you call to him, he will come. So what does Satan do? He knocks at the door. Do you need to answer? No. So how does he knock at the door? Genesis 2. He lies. So now something happens in our lives. And the thing is, Satan comes and lies to us. What do? One of two things. We either reject the lie by giving it truth, or we entertain the lie. Like, wow, you actually make a good point. So first thing, Satan lies. Secondly, we think about it. We ponder over it. Like, yeah, maybe this is true. Okay? So your mom says you will never be pretty, you will always be fat, and now at 55, you weigh 55, and you will never be pretty, and you will always be fat. You are unlovable. And now after your third marriage, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you are unlovable. So somewhere there's a lie, and we ponder the lie. We're like, yeah, maybe this is true. And then the most important point comes, that we agree with it. Like, you know what? You actually make a good point. Yes. Yes. My parents struggled with money, so it just makes sense that I will struggle with money. My dad died of a heart attack. It just makes sense that within our family, everybody dies of heart attacks. I will one day also die of a heart attack. And we speak these things over ourselves. I didn't have good parents, therefore it's in my DNA that I will not be a good parent. It makes sense. That little boy that I tried to play with in grade 1 rejected me and told me that I look stupid. I am now 45 and I still feel like I look stupid. There was a lie, we thought about it and we was like, yeah, it makes sense, and then we agreed upon it. But now the next thing comes in. So we have a lie, we ponder on it, we agree on it, and now we act on it. So no one will ever love you. You will never find love in a woman's arms. Great. So you know what's a good alternative? If you watch a little bit of intimacy on screen. But it starts out very innocently. You watch Game of Thrones, and nudity is just part of the story. So you don't want to miss a good story, so what do? You just kind of, you look away. But it's part of the story. It's a good story. It's a good story. Or, I'm really in a rush. I'm just going to drive 140 on the highway because I'm on my way to a prayer meeting. It's a good thing. So it's okay if I drive a little bit too fast. Or I'm not going to tell the taxman everything that I've earned because I'm giving to the church. Okay? So one way or the other, there's a little bit of a creak on the door. Now, can a lot get through here? No. But what does the word say? Beware of little foxes. So now little things come in here. And if we don't recognize it, if we don't respond to temptation by saying, no, go away, truth is you don't have place, if we entertain it, then suddenly, where is Johnny? There's something coming through the door. But it's still just, it's not entering my life, it's just kind of here. But you know what's happening here? I now have an audience and an opportunity to speak into your life. Hey, don't you think this is cool? And if you don't put me in my place, if you don't put that thought in its place, it comes a little bit open. And now it's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool, man? And if we don't address it, we open the door a little bit more. Now what starts to happen is what's actually happened to these doors over here. You didn't even recognize those were doors anymore. Why? It's just an extension, and people can come and go through these inside doors just easily. We didn't even recognize that there's supposed to be a door, and now Satan starts walking through our lives quite easily. So what's he going to do in a battle? Enemy at the gate, enemy at the door, what's he going to do? He's going to make sure that you can't close the door. So what does he do? He fortifies it. He puts things here, and that's called a stronghold. So now, we can't just close the door anymore. Why? Because this has become a habit. I wake up in the morning, and I look at my cell phone. I get angry, I curse. It becomes a habit. There's a lie, we ponder the lie. We agree with the lie. We act on the lie becomes a habit. It becomes part of my life. I shout at my wife. I smack my kids. I belittle the person that's trying to overcome me. I talk behind people's backs. I make judgments on people without having the full story. I elevate myself within the meeting so that I feel more important. How do I do that? I put you down. I speak badly about my mother-in-law, about the other people, and it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and this becomes a place where Satan has an entryway. Now, here's the thing. Maybe it doesn't happen immediately. Something happened way back when, and there was a lie that was told, and we didn't counter the lie immediately. So what do? We give Satan keys. It's like, here we go. So he might not ransack the place immediately, but he'll hold on to that. So that one day, when you least expect it, I don't have rejection issues, I'm fine. And then you get married. And suddenly all those things that are not sorted out, comes to the front. I'm a well-grown man. I'm in control of my emotions. I know who I are. Great. And then you have children. You're like, I am not in control anymore. Okay? And Satan uses those things at weird times to come and expose things that if we don't address it in the moment, can create a space through which he can just easily walk back and forth into our lives. And we find ourselves, what does the word say? It's easier to do the things that I don't want to do than it is to do the things that I want to do. I want to read the Bible, but my thumb just goes to Instagram. I want to get up and go to the gym, but I'll just turn around to the other side of my body because that's also exercise. So now it starts becoming easier to do the things we don't want to do. Why? Because someone is coming through our port, our gate, our door the whole time without a bashing. And the worst part is, it becomes invisible. We don't even see it as a door anymore. It's just the way that it is. And when we get stuck there, Satan can come in and rearrange everything in your house. He's not just standing over here making shouts anymore. He's actively working to put you in a position where you are not living out what you were called for. Remember, his thing is that he wants to isolate you, he wants to mute you, he wants to immobilize you, he wants to take you away from that which God has called you for. So what does he do? He creates open spaces for him to get into your life. So here's the interesting thing. In the Word, we have places like this. So if this was a city, what would this be called? A gate, okay? A gate is like a groot deur. It's a massive door. It's called a gate. Okay, so we've got gates in cities. So in the Old Testament, the city gate was a place where a couple of things happened. One of the things that happened was that there were transactions done there. It's like the marketplace. It's the place where people go like, hey, I need to have a deal with you, and we strike a deal there. It's also the place that was kind of like the judicial place where things happened. A lot of legal conversations were had there. Let me give you an example. So, in the time of the judges before the kings, there was a lady by the name of Naomi. Naomi was an Israelite woman. She got married. She had 2 lovely boys. There was famine in the land, and she moved to the Moabab. Boabab? No, not the tree. Okay, Moabab. She moved there. Her 2 boys married 2 of the foreign ladies there, and then her husband died. And then both her sons died. And now she's like, don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to be an alien in this country. I'm going back to Israel. And she takes her 2 daughters-in-law and she goes back to Israel. And on the way, she has this conversation with Orpah and with Ruth. And she's like, okay, you don't need to come with me. And they're like, no, it's fine. And I think the second McDonald's that they drove past, Orpah was like, don't want to do this anymore. Okay, this is going to be weird. I'm going to go back to my family. And she packs up her stuff and she goes. And Naomi tells Ruth, don't you want to do the same? And Ruth is like, no. I will go with you. Your people will be my people. Your family will be my family. Your God will be my God. And Naomi's like, okay, cool. And they go back to Israel. And when they get there, people are like, oh, it's Naomi. She's like, no, call me Mara. Why? Because I've lost everything and I'm now bitter inside. God has forgotten about me, everything. All my security, my husband, my 2 sons that were supposed to look at me as a woman, they have gone. And the only thing I have is this lady that has chosen to be part of my family by choice. So now Ruth goes and she's like, okay, cool. We need to get food. Let's go find a place to go and get food. So she goes into the fields, and there's this nice field, and they are, I think it's harsh in African English is barley, so they are harvesting barley, and she's collecting. And the hero of the moment, called Boaz, pitches on the scene, and he's like, be lady on yonder, who are she? And she says, no, that is the Moabitical lady that is associated with Naomi. And he's like, oh, she's actually distant family of me. Naomi is distant family of mine. So, guys, please leave her alone. Don't make it difficult for Ruth to collect. You know what you should actually do? When you are making the sheaves, pull out a little bit extra and leave it there. And he goes to Ruth, he's like, listen, you are welcome in my place. You can use the lodgings over there for the ladies. You can use that. You can get food if you are thirsty. You can drink from that. Please be safe. Don't go anywhere else. And she stays there. And at the end of the day, she goes home and she goes and shows Naomi what she actually got. It's like, wow, where did you get all of this? No, from Boaz. And Naomi's like, ha, 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 opportunity knocks. She says, okay, you know what? So Boaz is actually family of ours, so you know what we should do? And she has this whole plan, and Ruth dresses nicely. She goes to Boaz at the end of a festival when he's had a couple of drinks, and he's laying down, and she goes to him in the middle of the night, and she introduces him to herself, and he's like, you've done the right thing. You have done the right thing. You are family of mine, and I have responsibility over you. But there's someone else that has a claim to you and to Naomi. I will go to the gates tomorrow, and I will sort this out. So Boaz goes to the gates. And as this gentleman approaches, he's like, hi, sir, gentlemen, please come and have a seat with me. We have something to discuss. We have a legal conversation that we need to have. He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, so there's a land that is associated with Naomi. Would you like it? And the guy's like, always open for a freebie. So, yeah, I would like to take the land. And then Boaz says, great. If you take the land, you must also take responsibility for the Moabitical woman that is associated with Naomi. You must marry her, and you must have children with her so that that lineage can be extended. And this guy says, can't have that. Because if I have more children, it's going to be complications with my inheritance. No. And Boaz gets up and says, right, I am next in line. Can I step in as a redeemer for this family? And they say yes. And they have a legal transaction. So then they took off their shoes and they exchanged shoes, and the legal exchange happened so that Boaz then took responsibility for Naomi and Ruth. So what happened at the gate? There was a legal exchange. A redeemer came in and exchanged something for something. Now, if you didn't know this, if you look at the genealogy of Jesus, the great-grandson of Ruth was King David. So Ruth had Obed, Obed had Jesse, Jesse had David. So Boaz becomes an example of the redeeming that Jesus down his lineage will go. There will be a place, there will be legal right to you. Things that you said yes to. Yes, I agree with you that I am fat and will never marry. I agree with that sin. There's a legal agreement. And the Redeemer comes and says, can I exchange for this lie? Can I make an exchange? Can I give my son in the place of Louis at the gates? Can I take away this stronghold and close this door and open another door that the Lord can be my stronghold? Can I exchange Louis' sin for forgiveness of sin that's already there at the gates? There's this whole teaching on the courts of heaven and the legal parts and the legal things that we allow in our lives by saying yes to things and partnering with things that we shouldn't partner with, and giving Satan legal rights to things. He cannot invade, he needs to be invited. But the fact is that Jesus is stronger than all of that. The blood of Jesus on the mantelpiece of the door at Passover, the blood that was on the door is overpowering of death. It is more than anything else that we could agree to. Why? Because Jesus gave his life to you, for you, because of you. So if you want to know what's happening in your life, what's happening in your city, look at your children. If you don't have a family yet, look in your past and know that if you don't sort that out, that will be part of your children's future. That the things that you are agreeing to for generations. Why? Because Boaz came and made an agreement, and through that, the Redeemer came many generations later. That what you do now, what does a gladiator say? What I do now echoes into eternity. That is so true. That is so true. That what you agree on for today will echo in eternity for you, for your family to come. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an enemy at the gate, and he's looking for opportunities to get into your house. He is lying to you. There is a lie that is knocking at your door, and he wants to come in. And Jesus is knocking at your door, and he also wants to come in. And the most amazing thing about God is that he created us with choice. You can choose. There's someone at the door for you. What are you going to say yes to? So Jesus comes in Luke, and at the start of his ministry, he goes back to the place where he comes from Nazarene. And he goes into the synagogue, the temple of the day. And he opens the scrolls in Isaiah. And he gets up, and he's going to be the preacher of the day. So then it's just, they have a reading plan. So they start at one place, and they read a little bit, and then they teach on it. So it's not like he pre-planned this, but God pre-planned it. So he opens up, and the scripture of the day that Jesus has when he gets there, Leandri, if you can put it up for us, is in Luke 4, and he says the following. You need to jump. Sorry for all the slide skipping, Leandri. Right, let me get it to you. Right, so Jesus comes, and thank you to Uncle Chris for sharing this with me. So Jesus comes, and he says, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom to the prisoners and recovery of sight to the blind, and to set the oppressed free." Next verse, please. "To proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And then after this, he says, "And today, this has come into being." What an amazing opening statement to the life of Jesus' ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Puti, Sissy, young, old, Jesus has come to set the captives free. If your door is open, and there's a big strong man over here holding the door open, and there are things coming in and out of your life that shouldn't be there, God has come to take this away. Jesus' blood was spilled so that this lie can be closed. And this open door can be taken away so that you can lock it down. So that you can open the door to the Holy Spirit to come and rearrange your inner being. There is a gate to your life, and there are legal things being done there that you are agreeing to or disagreeing to. There are lies being offered to you, and it's your choice to say if you're going to partner with it or not. If the lie is there, take it, antagonize it, look at it, speak truth over it, and if it's not from God, send it away. Otherwise, there's going to be a little bit of a finger coming around the corner, and then just a little bit of a step, and then just a little bit of an opening. And we can still kind of close it, but it's difficult because the foothold is there. What does the word say? Don't go to bed angry and give a foothold to Satan. Sort the things out. Why? Because next time it's just easier to open that door and to open that door and to open that door. And eventually, this is the way that the door gets stuck. And it's easy for things to come in and out of our lives. So I don't know what your door is. I don't know how many doors you have in your life. I don't know how open or closed or ajarred or fingers or foothold or open or stronghold or whatever is in your life with regards to this. What I know is that that's not the way we were called to live. And we are carrying burdens that was not ours to carry. And we are entertaining hurt that was not ours to entertain. And we're living a life of oppression that was not ours to have. And we are believing things about our lives and about our souls and about our bodies and about our relationships and about our worth and about our finances and about our health and about our children and about our spouses. And we are believing things that are fundamentally not true. And we start acting on that. In the week, a guy came to me, loving man of God that says, can't hear the Lord. Maybe God can speak to everybody else, but he's not speaking to me. Is that true? No. God has a plan for all the other people. I will just kind of be the logistics manager. That's kind of my lot in life, okay? That's okay. I am 33, I am not married. That is my lot in life. I will be okay. There's other people that are called to do special things. Not me. I'm just the guy on the stand shouting for everybody else to perform. God has called you for more than that. There's a reason why you are here. There's a creation purpose for you. There's something that only you can do. And if Satan is keeping you busy with other things, and other people are shouting at you, and there's other things taking away your attention, and you are not focusing on your purpose, then what happens? Nothing gets done. And there's an enemy at your gate that is seizing your city, that is putting you under siege. And what is supposed to be a place of safety in the face of the Lord, was supposed to be a place of fullness of life, becomes a place of misery and a place of doubt and a place of oppression. And that is not what God called you for. So again, I don't know where your doors are. I don't know if you've got barn doors open or little mouse traps available over here. What I want to say is, the God we serve is stronger than all of that. There was a choice involved in getting to the situation. There was a choice in agreement. The way out of this is also in coming to agreement with the truth of that situation. Jesus has come to set the captives free. May you experience that in this morning.
Thank you for taking the time to listen, and we hope you've been blessed. For more information, visit rechurchza.com.